China has just confirmed what NASA has reportedly been trying to keep under wraps, revealing a truth about the interstellar object atlas that is far more alarming than anyone could have imagined. According to classified briefings leaked to international media, Chinese space officials have uncovered evidence suggesting that Atlas is not merely an anomalous comet or a scientific curiosity, but an artificial object exhibiting hostile behavior, actively preparing for catastrophic action since its arrival in our solar system. Unlike the narrative that has been carefully curated by global space agencies, Atlas appears to be a military asset conducting reconnaissance, deploying weapons systems, and mapping Earth's defenses with precision. Far from being a peaceful visitor or a cosmic enigma, it is systematically establishing positions from which it could potentially launch an assault. The leaked documents reveal that Atlas has been strategically deploying objects across the solar system. Over the past 8 weeks, more than 200 individual platforms have been positioned in orbits that maximize coverage of Earth's orbital path, creating a network capable of full surveillance and engagement. While NASA initially described these as probes or instruments for observation, China's analysis presents a far more dire scenario. These are weapons platforms designed for kinetic strikes and electromagnetic disruption. Each deployed object contains dense metallic cores encased in high-energy systems, a configuration consistent with kinetic impactors and directed energy weapons. The deployment is not random. The positions have been calculated to establish overlapping fields of coverage, ensuring that any attempt to defend or retaliate would face immediate interference. According to military analysts who reviewed the briefing, this is textbook orbital bombardment positioning, allowing Atlas to strike any location on the planet while maintaining the capability to defend against counterattacks. China's findings indicate that Atlas itself is more than just a passive command node. Its main body functions as a mobile command platform, capable of coordinating the deployed network autonomously. Spectroscopic and electromagnetic analyses show that Atlas possesses propulsion technology far beyond current human capabilities. It can accelerate to speeds approaching 50,000 miles per hour, decelerate just as rapidly, and maneuver without producing any observable exhaust or thermal signature. This implies a method of propulsion potentially exploiting physics unknown to humanity, possibly manipulating space-time or gravitational fields. Such maneuverability renders conventional interception almost impossible. Missiles or orbital defenses would be too slow, giving Atlas complete freedom to reposition at will. The objects deployed by Atlas are autonomous, capable of independent decision-making following pre-programmed protocols. This means that even if the main object were destroyed, the network of over 200 platforms would remain operational, capable of executing attack sequences without direct command. The weapons systems are sophisticated, incorporating kinetic impactors, electromagnetic pulse generation, and directed energy beams. China's observation suggests that the network could simultaneously generate electromagnetic pulses strong enough to disable electronics across hundreds of miles, potentially taking down power grids, communication systems, and satellite networks on a global scale. This capability alone would paralyze humanity's ability to coordinate defense or respond effectively to a threat. Kinetic threats posed by the deployed objects are equally formidable. Each weighs between 10 and 50 tons, and at orbital velocities, even the smallest could hit Earth with the destructive power equivalent to a nuclear weapon. Hundreds of such objects in optimized orbits could strike every major population center simultaneously, creating devastation on an unprecedented scale. Moreover, the network is resilient. The platforms communicate constantly, forming a distributed command structure that ensures the destruction of some does not compromise the functionality of the whole system. According to intelligence analysts, this is exactly how one would design a weapons array intended to survive countermeasures and execute coordinated attacks with surgical precision. Atlas itself is not just a passive overseer. It possesses offensive capabilities of its own. Directed energy weapons on board are capable of vaporizing 100-meter asteroids from millions of miles away. If such energy can destroy objects of that size in space, the implications for terrestrial targets are terrifying. Cities, military installations, and infrastructure could all be obliterated with pinpoint accuracy from orbit. The main object is simultaneously conducting intensive radar scans of Earth's surface, focusing on military bases, nuclear facilities, power grids, communication hubs, and satellite ground stations. China's tracking over 3 weeks shows that these are not routine scans. They are deliberate mapping of critical infrastructure, identifying the most vulnerable targets for potential preemptive strikes. Perhaps most concerning is the evidence that Atlas has been probing Earth's defense systems. On multiple occasions, it deployed small objects that approached military satellites, testing how our defenses respond. Each time, the satellites detected the objects, but no defensive action was taken, effectively giving Atlas the opportunity to calibrate its understanding of Earth's response capabilities. These tests suggest the alien system is actively evaluating weaknesses and refining its attack protocols, ensuring that when the moment comes, it can operate with maximum efficiency and minimum resistance. China's briefing documents suggest that the network is only part of a larger operational plan. Atlas appears to communicate with deep space, possibly coordinating with additional assets or reporting back to whoever or whatever sent it. This raises the possibility that Atlas is the reconnaissance component of a larger invasion force, setting the stage for a main fleet to follow. In military terms, this is a classic pre-invasion strategy. Establish dominance over orbital space, map and catalog enemy defenses, and position forces to deliver maximum damage with minimal warning. The countdown sequences embedded in Atlas's transmissions indicate that its preparation phase is nearing completion, with global tracking networks observing heightened activity and additional deployments. Over the past week alone, China detected at least 30 new objects released by Atlas, reinforcing the network to over 230 platforms, each bringing incremental increases in offensive and defensive capability. The implications for Earth's defenses are stark. According to the briefing, traditional weapons, including nuclear missiles, kinetic interceptors, and directed energy systems, are likely ineffective against Atlas. Its speed, maneuverability, and shielding capabilities render most current human technology useless. Attempting to destroy the deployed objects would require targeting over 200 autonomous, independently operating platforms spread throughout orbital space, a task beyond current military capabilities. Furthermore, Atlas's offensive capabilities, from electromagnetic pulse attacks to kinetic strikes and orbital lasers, put every human installation at risk, from cities to critical infrastructure. The network has the capacity to annihilate global communication and power systems, leaving humanity blind and defenseless. The leaked Chinese documents also highlight the strategic missteps of NASA and other space agencies. While they were aware of Atlas's deployments, weapons signatures, and hostile activities, they chose to classify the information and maintain the public narrative of an interstellar comet. In doing so, they gambled that the situation could be resolved quietly or through technical countermeasures, underestimating Atlas's capabilities and the urgency of the threat. This delay allowed Atlas months to establish strategic positions, deploy its weapons, and compile detailed intelligence on Earth's vulnerabilities. By the time China revealed the truth, the planet was already dangerously exposed, facing a threat for which current defensive posture is grossly inadequate. Global military responses have begun, but they are reactionary rather than proactive. China has reportedly activated full defensive postures, mobilizing strategic deterrence, likely including nuclear assets. Russia has followed suit, and other nuclear-capable nations are quietly reinforcing positions. However, the efficacy of these measures is uncertain. Atlas is positioned beyond effective ranges for most existing weapons systems and possesses defensive measures that could neutralize or intercept conventional strikes. The deployment of nuclear weapons in space also risks creating debris fields that could compromise humanity's own satellite infrastructure. As a result, the asymmetry between Atlas's technological capabilities and human defenses is overwhelming. The timeline for the unfolding scenario is rapidly compressing. Atlas has advanced closer to Earth, approximately 130 million miles away, moving steadily toward optimal strike positions. The deployed network has begun showing energy outputs consistent with active weapons systems, and the nature of Atlas's electromagnetic transmissions has shifted from exploratory to structured command sequences, indicative of preparations for execution. Some deployed objects have begun altering orbits, transitioning from monitoring to attack positions, confirming that the transition from reconnaissance to active engagement is underway. Analysts suggest that within roughly 4 to 6 weeks, Atlas could reach positions from which it could launch decisive attacks. The countdown sequences observed in transmissions point to a critical event occurring within 25 to 30 days, whether that involves attacks, reinforcements arriving, or an ultimatum being delivered. Humanity's window to act is narrow. Space agencies are scrambling to establish communication, employing everything from mathematical proofs to direct appeals, but there is no evidence that Atlas is capable of or interested in negotiation. Emergency preparations, typically reserved for nuclear conflict, are being quietly implemented. Continuity of government procedures, infrastructure hardening, and stockpiling of essential supplies. Yet even these measures may be insufficient, given the technological superiority and the strategic positioning of Atlas and its autonomous network. The world faces an existential threat, one that has been months in preparation while humanity debated the object's intentions. The classical notion of first contact as a peaceful or transformative event has been shattered. Atlas is not a visitor here to communicate or explore. It is an invading force equipped with a sophisticated, nearly unstoppable arsenal. Every prediction about the potential benefits of contact with an advanced civilization has been rendered obsolete. Instead of diplomacy or exchange, humanity is confronted with the reality of conquest. The technological disparity is staggering, and the strategic sophistication of Atlas suggests it has approached this situation with the precision of a military campaign. Weapons deployment, reconnaissance, target cataloging, and autonomous execution all point toward a level of strategic foresight and operational capability that surpasses any human military effort. Its actions indicate that it views Earth not as a partner or subject of study, but as a set of resources, obstacles, or threats to be neutralized. The consequences of underestimating Atlas are potentially catastrophic. NASA's decision to downplay the threat while hoping for a quiet solution has left humanity perilously exposed. Emergency measures are only now being implemented as the clock ticks down, leaving governments and populations vulnerable. Atlas has gained months of strategic advantage, and within a few short weeks, the situation may escalate beyond the possibility of mitigation. The countdown embedded in its transmissions suggests that the next phase, whether attacks, reinforcements, or demands, is imminent. Humanity is facing a force immune to conventional defense, with offensive capabilities that could annihilate entire cities, disable global communication, and paralyze critical infrastructure. In essence, the confirmation from China transforms Atlas from a fascinating astronomical anomaly into an existential threat. The narrative of peaceful interstellar exploration has been obliterated, replaced by the stark reality of imminent invasion. For months, global attention has focused on questions of scientific curiosity and first contact, while Atlas prepared strategically to dominate, surveil, and potentially destroy. Its autonomous weapons network, combined with the unparalleled mobility and defense of its primary object, means that humanity faces a near insurmountable challenge. The coming weeks will determine whether civilization can survive the arrival of this technologically superior adversary, or whether the world, as we know it, will face an existential crisis of unprecedented scale. Time for debate is over. The evidence is unequivocal. Atlas is not a benign explorer, but a sophisticated, hostile, pre-invasion force that has been actively preparing to execute operations with devastating efficiency. Humanity stands at a precipice, confronting a reality that was months in preparation and whose consequences will unfold in mere weeks. The notion of peaceful first contact has been irrevocably shattered, replaced with the stark recognition that advanced intelligence does not equate to benevolence. Atlas's arrival signals a confrontation that may determine the survival of the species. Beyond the immediate threat, Atlas's arrival forces humanity to confront uncomfortable questions about our preparedness for interstellar challenges. Decades of technological progress, space exploration, and global defense planning suddenly appear insufficient against an adversary operating centuries ahead of us. The psychological impact alone could be destabilizing. Awareness that an unstoppable force is positioning itself above Earth might trigger mass panic, economic collapse, and social unrest. Governments face the impossible task of maintaining order while preparing responses to a threat they barely comprehend. Meanwhile, space agencies worldwide are racing against time to analyze the continuously shifting data, attempting to understand the logic behind Atlas's deployments, predict its next moves, and explore potential vulnerabilities. The leaked Chinese briefings indicate